Pubco Studios in Oklahoma City. You are watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. It's time for our weekly inbox segment. We take your email questions and attempt to answer them right here on camera. Barry, let's get right to it. Let's start with this question from Chris. Chris says, Kentucky's starting five has declared for the NBA draft. I think that makes 12 players in 3 seasons going pro. When is the graduation percentage index, GPI, going to catch up with them? Won't they lose a slew of scholarships? First, Barry, a little clarification. I like GPI, but it's actually APR, academic progress rate. But it is a good question here that Chris brings up.
It is a good question, and it would stand to reason that they would. But John Calipari pointed out earlier in the season, a couple of months ago, that, hey, Kentucky's got the best APR in the SEC. I don't understand the APR. My girl Jenny knows a lot more about it. She's going to explain it to you. But it looks like Kentucky's going to be okay with this.
Yeah, they are. And here's the thing. What happens is every player has a point for retention and a point for academic eligibility. And when a guy decides to go pro, his retention point no longer counts against the team. So then basically the only thing that he can impact the team with is academic eligibility. And here's where it gets a little sketchy, Barry. Guys got to stay in school. They got to get to the end of the spring semester eligible. And that's where, as a coach, I would think there'd be some anxious moments, because if you got players going pro, what's the motivation to stay in school for the spring semester?
A lot of guys quit going to school after the NCAA tournament. Some don't, though. Russell Westbrook with the Thunder kept going to UCLA even after he declared for the pros. So it can be done.
Yeah.
Sounds like Kentucky's doing a good job of keeping those guys going to class.
Yeah, but that's something they got to watch. All right, back to the inbox. This one comes from Trent. Trent says, I saw the T-Wolves have lost their last 26 games in April, dating back to 2009. Is there a crazier active streak in pro or college sports?
Well, there probably is. I don't know if there. I mean, we were together. We saw the Baylor Bears beat Oklahoma for the first time ever in football. 20 straight times Baylor had tried. I'll give you one. I don't know if it matches for April 26 games, but Clemson has been going to Chapel Hill, North Carolina since the 20s to play college basketball. Has never won in Chapel Hill. Clemson's lost 56 straight games at North Carolina. Nothing on the horizon makes you think the streak's going to end. That's the only one I can think of any kookier.
Well, this is a weird one, because I really thought at this point in the year that Minnesota would be in the hunt for the playoffs. And, up until a couple weeks ago, they were, and then they hit the skids bad. I mean, obviously the injury to Ricky Rubio was costly earlier in the year, but they still continued to play well. But now they've had some additional injuries and have just really lost their way. This close game they had against the Thunderberry a few days ago, that's as close as they've played anybody. But it is strange, but it just says here's a team that really hasn't been in the playoff hunt and had motivation to play at this point in the season. All right, back to the inbox. This one from Craig. Craig says, seems the Thunder are regressing to me. Scott Brooks needs to figure something out or he could be in jeopardy. Not this season, but if they waffle around next year also, what do you make of that, Barry?
Well, I agree with Craig that the Thunder is regressing. They're not playing near as well the last month, maybe the last month and a half, as they did the first 2 months of the season. As far as Scott Brooks' job status, he's fine. However, if the Thunder has an early playoff flame out, then all of a sudden they join that list of teams that, hey, start questioning. Can they get it done? It won't be just Scott Brooks. It'll be all kinds of things about the roster and the organization. What are we doing wrong? What do we need to fix? Why can't we get over the hump? If they reach the Western Conference Finals this year, I think then after that you just take your chances. But if they get beat before the West Finals, there will be some questions arise.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think getting to the Western Conference Finals, at that point, you're going to be playing somebody great, somebody that's been playing good ball, somebody that's as talented probably as you are. So, if you get to that point and don't win, I know people will be disappointed by that around here, but it's not like you can look at that and say that's an unmitigated disaster. At least I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Scott Brooks is going anywhere for the foreseeable future. Probably at least the next couple years. The way he works with these guys, it makes sense to keep him. He has a great relationship with the younger guys on the team, guys like Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. But he knows how to deal with the veterans, and to have a coach that really does have his team, he has that locker room. You don't go and fire a guy unless there's really some compelling reasons, and I don't see it yet. And maybe the playoffs will bear it out different, but I sure don't see it, Barry.
Yeah.
All right, back to the inbox one last time. This one comes from Chris. Chris says, "Who do you think will get the Arkansas job?"
Well, I don't.
Are you up for it, Barry?
I'm not up for it, but somebody that, I'm thinking that it might actually be a situation where Jeff Long decides to go interim.
Yeah.
The longer I think, the more I look at it, I would not. But I'd go permanent. But I think Arkansas wants to protect this season, keep this coaching staff intact. Hog's going to have one big push. Try to get something final out of the Petrino era. I think they might go interim. All kinds of people they could go after. I mean, Frank Boyle still lives in Fayetteville, for crying out loud. He knows what's going on.
That's a Larry Brown hire right there, Barry.
Well, here's another one. Barry Switzer he's got ties to the hills. He loves the Razorbacks. He only lives 4 miles across 3 turnpikes. So I think they will go interim, and I think. It might even be someone from the staff. They just promote from the staff and say, "You guys take us home, and we'll fill the job at the end of the year."
Well, we saw Ohio State do that when I think everybody sort of had a feeling Ohio State wanted to hire Urban Meyer. The timing wasn't right, so rather than hire a coach and then have some sort of another time of staff turnover, they just went interim with somebody on the staff, and it didn't work out great, but it worked out okay. And then they got Urban Meyer. I think interim is probably the way they're going to go. I mean, I think 2 guys that they would really look at strongly, Gus Malzahn and Garrick McGee, are right now have yet to coach their first game at their new jobs. That's bad timing to try to go after somebody that just took a job. I think if they had their druthers, I think they might hire Garrick McGee. I just don't know if the timing's right, Barry.
It'd be very difficult. It would not. He would probably take the job.
Yeah. But it
would look bad. It would look very bad.
Of course, everything about this situation has
right.
looked bad. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.